One bone in your throat touches nothing. Without it, no language. Every other bone in your body connects to another bone, except one. The hyoid sits in your throat, suspended by muscles alone, touching nothing. Remove it, and your tongue cannot move the way speech requires. In 1989, archaeologists found one in a Neanderthal grave. It looked exactly like ours. Put your fingers gently at the front of your neck, just above your Adam's apple. Swallow. You'll feel something rise and fall. That's the hyoid, a small U-shaped bone, about 3 centimeters wide, that doesn't connect to anything else in your skeleton. Every other bone in your body articulates with at least one other bone. Your skull connects to your spine. Your ribs anchor to your sternum and vertebrae. Even your tiny ear bones link together. The hyoid is the lone exception. It's held in place by 9 pairs of muscles and a web of ligaments, suspended like a hammock between your jaw above and your larynx below. From an evolutionary standpoint, this is strange. Solo floating bones are anatomical oddities. They tend to be fragile, they're easy to fracture, and forensic pathologists actually use a broken hyoid as evidence of strangulation because nothing else in the body breaks it. So why is it there? Because that freedom of motion is exactly what your tongue, your larynx, and your throat need to do the most complicated mechanical task any animal performs: modulated speech. Speech is harder than people realize. To make a single word, your brain has to coordinate roughly 100 muscles in your face, throat, tongue, and chest, all firing in sequence within fractions of a second. The hyoid is the central anchor for that whole system. Your tongue is not a single muscle. It's 8 separate muscles braided together, and 4 of them attached directly to the hyoid bone. Because the hyoid floats freely, your tongue can move in 3 dimensions independently of your jaw. It can curl, flatten, retract, and extend with a precision no other primate tongue can match. Your larynx, the voice box that holds your vocal cords, also hangs from the hyoid. So when the hyoid shifts up and down during speech, the entire vocal tract changes shape. And a changing tract changes the resonant frequencies, which is what turns a hum into a vowel. A chimpanzee has a hyoid too, but it sits much higher in the throat, fused tightly into a small box. Their tongue can't articulate the way ours does. That's a huge part of why they can hoot and grunt, but cannot form the rapid consonant-vowel sequences that make language work. Here's where it gets interesting. For most of the 20th century, anthropologists assumed Neanderthals could not have spoken. Their skulls and throats looked too primitive. The standard textbook claim was that they communicated in grunts and gestures. Then in 1989, in Kebara Cave in Israel, a team of archaeologists excavated a 60,000-year-old Neanderthal skeleton. Among the bones, they found something nobody expected: a perfectly preserved hyoid. They measured it. They compared it to modern human hyoids. The shape, the dimensions, the angle of the surfaces where muscles attached, all of it was virtually identical to ours. That single bone rewrote the timeline of speech. If Neanderthals had a modern hyoid, they had the anatomical hardware required for complex vocalization. Later analyses of their inner ear bones showed the same auditory sensitivity humans have for the specific frequencies used in spoken language. The implication is enormous. Language did not appear suddenly in modern humans. It was already there in our extinct cousins at least 60,000 years ago, and probably much earlier. We may have shared not just our planet with Neanderthals, but our conversations. That's the bone that lets you talk, and the discovery that proved Neanderthals could too. Subscribe to Curious Science for more anatomy that rewrites human history. Tomorrow, A marshmallow hits with 4 times more force than a bullet at impact, for 1/10,000th of a second.